Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Okay, I think we're about ready. Finally. I got a little messy there for a bit. So I guess let's see if we can get everything up and running all at once here. And wait for it. Are we getting what we need here? All right, all right. We're still having problems. Crap. Just bear with me a minute here. For some reason, my screen capture is not working right now. Just give me a minute here.
above 80 or something like that for it to be feasible.
My mic was muted the entire time. Good grief. Holy crap. Wow. That's crazy. I've been having issues with my computer ever since I got home. So, yeah, I guess that explains a lot. But yeah, so far it's just been you in the chat, Jordy, since I've started. It's good to have you here, though. I was wondering what was going on there. But thanks for popping in, man. Hope you're ready because this is going to be a lengthy and maybe bumpy ride. So far, things haven't really developed yet. You haven't missed much of anything. See, this is why it pays to have people in the chat because if something's wrong, it can easily go past my head. What can I say? I'm only human. How you doing, buddy? Let's talk a little bit while we're waiting for all of this to develop here. Starting to see. Speaking of which, though, I am starting to see something a little bit interesting develop here. We could be seeing a splitter happening here, where these two storms end up splitting off, and we could see one of these end up taking over and maybe becoming tornadic. Hard to say right now. We'll just have to wait and see what the radar looks like as time goes on. But usually in this situation, when when two storms develop in the same area, usually the one further to the south usually will win that battle. We'll just have to see how things develop here. We're just kind of in that wait and see mode, so to speak. Also keeping an eye on this storm over towards Hattiesburg. It doesn't look impressive right now. Oh, wait, hang on a minute. Looks like our storm chasers here are now on the move. They've taken notice of this storm over towards Weston and Hazelhurst, and now they will be probably working their way towards that. They're probably going to intercept it by the time they either get to or just to the east of Jackson. Still going to watch these other storms here to make sure that we're on a P's and Q's here. So far, nothing has really changed with this storm further to the further off towards Arkansas right now in Louisiana. Still a big time severe thunderstorm warning for it. Damaging winds of 60 mile per hour seem most probable. Oh, I'm okay. I've been grinding it out already, and it's only been really not even that long, but I'm hanging in there, man. You're at work though, huh? Is it slow? I sure didn't have a slow day at work today. I would have liked that. Maybe I could have got home a little earlier and avoided all the traffic because I wanted to start streaming way earlier than what I did. I'm going to go ahead and look at these parameters while I'm at it. Or the other products here. I'm going to look at reflect the velocity product. Just gonna kind of main thing I'm really doing here is just more or less going through each and every severe thunderstorm warning, making sure we've covered everything that I can, especially since we're waiting for things to really develop here. Switch over to the Little Rock radar. If I can get it to work. Sheesh. Having a little bit of trouble here. Thank you, Marcus, for subscribing. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you being here, man. It's gonna be a pretty lengthy stream here. Hopefully, you enjoy it. And if you could, love it if you would share this stream. Help me get out to other people, so that way we can maybe keep a few more people informed here. If you're wondering why I'm switching back and forth between Streamlabs right now, for whatever reason, when I just try to have this set up for Radar Mega only, I can't seem to get the screen capture to work, which is kind of frustrating to say the least. But sometimes that's just how that's how the cookie crumbles. What is going on with the Little Rock radar? Why are they not? Why is it not up? Maybe I'll switch over. Maybe I can try and switch over to the radar site towards Memphis. So the Memphis radar works, but for whatever reason, we're getting interference towards the Little Rock radar. Why is that? There we go. I don't know why that was doing that before. So there is still a little bit of wind shear with this storm that's off to the west of England here. A little earlier, this had a tornado warning with it. No tornado on the ground, but a radar indicated tornado warning. But this severe thunderstorm warning has now lost the tornado warning tag, but it does have indicators for both hail and damaging winds of 60 miles an hour. So let's go ahead and head back over to reflectivity here. Okay. Storm looking a little less impressive on radar. Maybe I need to switch over because we're getting so close to the storm now. Let's go ahead and try the Memphis radar really quickly. Then we're going to shift our attention back over towards southern Mississippi, where conditions are a little bit more favorable. Yeah, this is a much better view of the storm, but even so, again, not really anything that strikes out to me as, oh, this is going to produce a tornado. This doesn't even really look like it's that impressive on the wind field even. I mean, there is some pretty strong winds out ahead of it, but I'm not so sure right now that those are making it to the surface. We'll also try and go ahead and look at maybe some hail. I think I clicked the wrong thing actually there. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted. Vertically integrated liquid. There does seem like there is some potential for hail in this storm. Not very much. More so towards the backside of it. But it's not extremely intense hail. This storm is starting to more or less just fall apart. That being said here, let's go back to reflectivity and then switch back towards the Jackson radar. Okay, so it doesn't want to switch over yet. There we go. Yeah, looks like looks like we're seeing an exact case of what I was talking about there, where we're seeing a storm kind of begin to do a split off, and we're seeing the storm to the left look like it's trying to become outflow dominant. You can kind of see almost with a backward C shape right here. Let me change the color. Try to change the color to something like blue or something. Help things along, make this a little bit easy, give this a little bit better visual. But you can kind of see this little backward C developing. This is leaning more so into a damaging wind threat. Whereas if this little appendage here was curving in more so this way, and this time we're going to change colors to red, then you would be leaning more so towards a tornado threat. But right now, this isn't imminently producing tornado, but we'll have to see what this area a little further off of the flank of this storm is going to end up doing. It's going to be this cell that's right here. That's just to the north of New Hebron and Magi or Magi. Please feel free to correct me if I pronounce that wrong. I see 12 of you guys are in here. Welcome. In case you haven't already known, based off the title of the video here, we are looking at a potential severe weather outbreak taking shape. Right now, we're in a semi-slow period. We have a multitude of severe thunderstorm warnings, but the chance for tornadoes definitely will be increasing over the next couple hours. So we're gonna be here for a while. Hopefully, you get comfortable here and try to relax here. And hopefully, if you are in one of these areas, you are whether it's through me, another weather streamer, or your local news network, weather channel, whatever it may be. Hopefully, you are getting the information you need in advance of these warnings, because the potential that these storms have is unbound, to say the least. And this is not a system that I would want you to be playing with, that's for sure. Gonna be right now, we're looking at currently a storm split off that's happening right now, and we're trying to see just what exactly is going to come of this. Normally in this situation, I would start watching this storm right here off to the right here where the cursor is, because eventually this can end up becoming a tornadic down the line here. But not to say that the storm to the north here can't produce tornado. The parameters are definitely set up to where either storm could have a shot at producing tornado. But as of right now, this one that's to the that has the core going through Georgetown is currently outflow dominant, as indicated by this little backward C type appendage right here. If we were to see that start to curl inward, we would start to become increasingly concerned for a potential tornado threat. But it looks like the splitter scenario is playing out almost as it typically would. This storm hasn't really fully organized itself just yet, but I can almost see the supercellular tendencies beginning to take shape, though. One good example would be something along the lines of an eagle claw, and I'm going to pull the marker back out again. I'm probably going to be doing this a lot tonight. But whenever you see these little fingers out here towards the leading edge of the storm, that's usually a good indicator of a very healthy, very strongly breathing storm. And also, here's that little backwards C appendage. This little bit of cold air rushing out ahead of the storm, and this is what's kind of keeping things a little bit tame for the moment. If we were to see this curve inward like this, cold air is wrapping around the backside, and then we have warm air feeding into it. There is a spot for inflow in this storm, too. So it's not to say that this can't end up eventually having increased tornado potential, but right now I don't really see much of anything. We also have to watch this storm over here towards Laurel, where it's pretty discreet in its own right and has the potential of maybe becoming something tornadic down the line. This is just outside the tornado watch area, so again, we'll have to watch and see what the Storm Prediction Center does with that. Right now, it's not the most impressive. It's not super organized just yet. We'll go ahead and also take a look at some of these other severe thunderstorm warnings. We'll have to watch these two amongst the main line as well. Given the parameters, some of these could end up becoming embedded supercells. So the threat for tornadoes, not just with discrete cells, but with the main line, is very much a real thing. So that being said, if you happen to see that you don't have any discrete cells over your area, but you have a line, don't think that your threat is over. It's not until this line passes when the full severe event will be over, and really the threat of tornadoes to go with it. See a new severe thunderstorm warning over here. This is towards Pine Bluff. This expires in 21 minutes. Tornado watch here should be ending here shortly, within the next hour or so, because it looks like the front is going to be passing through here soon. So the severe thunderstorm warning in question here is for Cleveland, Grant, and Dallas counties in Arkansas until 5:15 Central Time. That's another 20 minutes for now. Storm's hauling it though. It's moving east at about 50 miles an hour, 60 mile per hour wind gusts, and quarter-size hail. This is radar indicated right now though. So that's what we have going on with that storm. I've been watching this storm over here towards the south of Little Rock for a while now. Still does not look like this is imminently going to be producing a tornado. We're going to have to switch to the Memphis radar to see it. This did have a tornado warning on it earlier, but it kind of fell apart on us. And with that being said, the storm itself just looks like it's becoming a little less impressive at the moment. Of course, these storms can cycle and sort of breathe new life, so to speak, so we have to keep an eye on that. It's a new sector over here towards Newport here in Arkansas that we have to watch for damaging winds here. We're actually going to switch over to the velocity product, because you can kind of see a feature that leads you to believe that there's increased damaging winds. In fact, there it is right there. I'm going to go ahead and circle that too while I'm at it. But yeah, you can almost see this little shear line develop here. And this is where our damaging winds will likely be should they mix their way to the surface. I'm almost interested to see if there's already been reports of this. Because right now it looks like no. But let's go ahead and find out here. Radar indicated. Storm moving at 60 miles an hour. And the counties involved are Woodruff, Independence, and Jackson counties in Arkansas. And that's ongoing for almost another 35 minutes here. Just a little less than, actually. So if you happen to be in this area, you might want to take shelter and treat this like a small tornado, because damaging winds like this, they can still do the same kind of damage as a weak tornado, but on a much larger scale. So it's not going to be a small little area where the damage can be confined to. It could be a pretty wide swath here. So if you happen to be in this entire polygon, get away from the windows, get away from the exterior walls, just kind of hang towards the most interior part of your home. Excuse me. All right. So we're just gonna pretty much at this point be continuing to kind of swap around on different radars and looking at different storms. Just kind of waiting for things to really start to pop off here. I'm gonna go back to these storms that I'm a little bit more interested in Jackson over here. I still see some very weak wind shear right now towards this storm that's over towards Georgetown. I do see an increase in lightning as well, which is a good sign that the storm is up. Hold up. There's a tornado warning that just got issued. Is it for this storm? No. It's actually for another storm that's in a line segment over towards Arkansas. Looks like this is for Cleveland, Dallas, Grant, and Jefferson counties. It's a little bit of a shear line that's developed here. Hey, something in my throat. But it seems like there's a very weak pocket of rotation that's developed right here towards the south of Carthage, just off of State Road 229 and Interstate 167 here. we could be seeing a weak point of rotation sufficient enough to maybe produce a tornado. Most likely it will be a quick spin up, but you can almost see the kink in the line here. You can see this point where the warm air is kind of surging in, and just to the south of it, there's a small point where the air is kind of surging outward. And where those two meet is where you will likely have the strongest wind shear right now. But that is our only tornado warning at the moment. Gone over all the other severe thunderstorm warnings, so we're kind of just going to be watching this one to see what this ends up doing. Go ahead and also take a look at the CC.
This is a reminder.
That was personal reminder for me there. Had to mute the mic for that one. Sorry, guys. But as of right now, as far as the correlation coefficient, I don't really see too much of a drop that indicates to me that there is any sort of debris in the air. So I think this tornado is going to mostly be radar indicated, which it is right now. We'll have to see what this does in the next scan. We'll be watching this one really quickly for a while here, since that's the only tornado warning we got right now. Hang on a minute. That looks a little interesting. I don't know for sure if that's actually a legit CC drop or radar noise though right now. We'll go ahead and run this in motion really quickly. So far, I think it's radar noise more so than anything else. We'll try and see if we can't split screen this and try to help this along a bit. Okay. So this is where that rotation is, right where the cursor is, and could be something there. I don't really think so. I think that's mostly just radar noise, but we'll go ahead and set both of these in motion just to make sure we're looking at things the right way here. Looks interesting. I don't want to say that it's down. I'm not entirely convinced that it is at the moment just yet. This does look like a pretty decent couplet, though. It's kind of hard to really say as to whether or not this is really doing anything just yet. But we'll be watching it. We'll keep watching this. I'm going to look at the velocity here mainly for right now. That velocity strengthens, then I'll be a little bit more convinced. Oh, yeah, Jordan. I'm going to be here for a while, it looks like. Thanks, man. I'll catch you later. Hope you have a good rest of your day at work, buddy. So we have 14 people here right now. Just in case you didn't know, my name's Ty, by the way. I've been a weather nerd since the age of 4 years old, and I'm also a huge metalhead. I love playing guitar and bass and stuff, but weather's been one of my passions, one of my loves since I was a child, and I'm just sitting more or less just doing what I love out here on YouTube and hoping to make a thing of it. That being said, though, we are currently watching a potential severe weather outbreak beginning to unfold here, potentially even a tornado outbreak, where there could even be some strong to violent tornadoes possible here. Right now, we're not necessarily in a slow period. We have plenty of severe thunderstorm warnings, but there hasn't been too many tornado warnings just yet. There have been a couple in Arkansas today, one that was to the south of Little Rock here, and then we have this current one that's to the southwest of Pine Bluff here. Pine Bluff itself, by the way, is not in a tornado warning just yet, but it is on the very edge, but it's just outside the edge of this polygon here. So if this continues to show signs of rotation, which it actually looks like it is organizing a little bit further, we could end up seeing Pine Bluff end up under a tornado warning by the next 10, 20 minutes, maybe even sooner than that. The storm is moving really fast, by the way. The storm is moving at, if I remember correctly, I saw 60 miles an hour. Okay, 55 now. It's a little slower than what we were looking at with a severe thunderstorm warning, but not by much. But let's go ahead and actually look at the gate to gate here. You can see where the green and red is. You can see the little couplet that's popped up here. Not the greatest velocity couplet I've ever seen, but it's definitely very apparent. It's hard to miss on radar. You can see where this light green is kind of touching where this darker green is, and you can even see little pixels of red in there. So you have winds going in one direction. Ooh, it's actually got some pretty decent gate to gate here. So you're seeing about 62 up against about 6. Okay, actually up to about maybe 17. So in total, that would be about 79, 80, 80 mile per hour gate to gate. So it would be a weak tornado if this would touch down, if this were to have touched down. But right now we can't confirm whether it is down or not. Still have a multitude of severe thunderstorm warnings right now. This is the one that's actually got the tornado warning with it over towards Dallas, Cleveland, and Grant counties. Then we have that severe thunderstorm warning in Mississippi, which we'll be looking at momentarily once we can figure out what's going on with this one. We have a couple others in on the Arkansas-Louisiana line here for Ashley County and Morehouse Parish. We have Jackson County, Arkansas with a severe thunderstorm warning. We have Craighead, Poinsett. Jeez, this thing just keeps closing down on me. We have Poinsett, Greene, and Cross counties, and then we have, again, I think these are just reissues of what we had over in Jackson, Ashley, and Morehouse counties. So, that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have going on in a more broad picture as we're waiting to see what's going on with that storm. There is a discrete supercell I've been watching over here, but since we have this tornado warning ongoing, I'm going to mainly be focusing on that. Ooh, that next scan, this next scan is getting more impressive. I do think there is a chance that this might be down because I did see a little feature on the CC that was kind of suspicious. But again, I can't really tell for sure. This could cycle, and if it did produce a tornado briefly, it could be cycling and produce, or it is actively producing something because this is strengthening. So it's definitely not something to pull away from just yet. That's for sure. Switch back to reflectivity here. You can see. So this is a weak echo region right here. You can see the little donut hole. That's usually a telltale sign. So somewhere up in there, that this storm is rotating. It's going to be hard to see whether or not a tornado is actually going to be down because it's going to be shrouded in a huge curtain of rain here. So this is a pretty dangerous storm, even for most storm chasers right now. To see what ends up happening with this will be interesting. But so far, like I said, this is our only tornado warning we're dealing with right now. We're trying to see, as of right now, I don't really see any storm chasers in this area. And this is probably going to be more or less no man's land if you're trying to get any sort of coverage on that right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how things unfold with that. I do see an interesting look with this storm a little further to the south. I do think damaging winds towards Grosset and Hamburg could be either possible or have happened already. So we watch this storm start to move off to the north and east here. There is a severe thunderstorm warning. No tornado possible tag, but there is 1-inch hail and 60 mile per hour gust in effect. The storm is moving at 60 miles an hour. It's all radar indicated right now. But some areas that could be involved in this would be Berlin within the next few minutes. Hamburg, I think it's already past you guys. Portland and Montrose. So take shelter. All right. I'm also gonna take a look and see if any new tornado watches have been issued here. So far, it looks like no. I'm just gonna mainly be focusing on our current tornado warning here. And another thing to keep in mind with this storm here, this is towards the main line. If anyone who's been keeping track with these storms up in this area, the thing to make note of here is there's been a lot of talk and concern about prefrontal cells, but just because you don't have a prefrontal or a discrete supercell out here that is rotating and producing and able to produce doesn't mean that this main line can't do it. And this is a great example right here. See this weak echo region. We can also see a little secondary inflow notch developing around here as well. But this storm is really starting to get its act together, though. You can see the increase in lightning around that where that mesocyclone is most likely going to end up being. And what makes this kind of storm dangerous as well is the simple fact that whenever whenever you get a spin up like this, it can move up and down the line possibly as well. These could be what you would call a sidewinder, or so to speak, but kind of drawing blank on names. But I would call this a sidewinder or a dancer or something like that. It can just kind of wobble all the way, like up and down the line a little bit. It's not going to do anything super dramatic. It's not going to go like 20 miles up the line out of nowhere, but definitely could be wobbling in a pattern close to something like that, maybe even. So you really have to take this one with a grain of salt and really just take cover if you're in that entire warning area. You can also see a little shear line developing here on the northern side of this polygon here. So if you're in Pine Bluff here, this isn't a tornado warning just yet, but this is definitely something you would be wanting to maybe start getting a little bit closer to your safe place just in case a warning does get issued for you. Because I do think with this kind of setup, things can evolve very quickly. Okay, so we're seeing increased damaging wind potential for this storm over here towards Stuttgart. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that. You can clearly see here that we do have a line that's indicative of damaging winds here, especially towards this end back here. If I can just clear this off. Getting up to about 50 miles an hour, and this is, keep in mind, when I look at these velocity signatures, these are based up a little bit higher at the atmosphere. We can't physically look at what's going on at the surface with these radars, unfortunately. The curvature of the Earth kind of prohibits that right now. In due time, I think that we could evolve past that, but for the meantime, with the way our radars are set up, this is the best we can do. I'd say maybe this is about a few hundred feet above the ground, a few thousand feet above our heads. But we can see 40 to 50 plus mile per hour winds for sure with this one, and the potential for even stronger winds a little higher up. So this is something to keep a close eye on over here. We still do see a little bit of a couplet, but I do think this storm is starting to become a little more disorganized as far as rotation is concerned. It's definitely not as impressive as it was in the last couple of scans. See, it looked good about a scan or two ago, but now it looks like we're starting to lose that rotation just a little bit. So it's something to keep an eye on, but I think this warning may not make it towards Pine Bluff right now. Do have to watch this little shear line here and see what that ends up doing. But I think for the most part, we're starting to maybe trend away from this storm being tornadic. So new warnings are in effect here. New tornado warning, and this is the one that was towards Mississippi that I've been watching for the last little bit here. This just got issued. Looks like the storm finally got its act together. And this is the exact same one I've been watching. I was wondering which storm was going to win in that situation with the splitter. Whoa. Oh, wow. Look at that. Holy. That is a hook if I've ever seen one. And when I looked at the velocity coupler before I switched it over, that's a pretty notable couplet. Let's go ahead and look at the gate to gate here. We got winds going towards the radar at about 31 miles an hour. And we'll move that out the way. See what we got with the red there. Not super strong wind shear just yet. But this is going to quickly... Oh, yeah, that's gotten even better by the next scan. I'm trying to find a point where some of the stronger wind shear is going to be with winds heading away from the radar. But this storm is definitely looking pretty menacing now. But this is what we have going on there. About somewhere ranging between 8 to 10 miles an hour towards going away from the radar. Here's towards the radar at about 46 miles an hour. Let's go ahead and take a look and see if this is down or not. I don't think it is at the moment, but with that kind of signature that we're seeing there, it can't be ruled out. So far, it looks like mostly noise, but easily, I wouldn't be surprised by the next couple of scans to see something on the ground. So, some areas that are involved that are in the line of fire with this storm here. We're going to go ahead and say Mendenhall. We're going to go out and stretch this out a little bit here. Okay, that's actually the first time I've used this. Oops. Okay. Oops. Well, hope you guys are getting a good laugh out of this because I'm feeling a little embarrassed. Okay, there we go. So this is where the storm is most likely to have a tornado on the ground. And we're going to stretch this out all the way to about here. We're going to say about maybe 45 miles an hour right now. That's what we're looking at. But that is one heck of a storm right there. All right, we're just going to go back to regular mode here. Because for whatever reason, I'm not able to get that to work. But it looks like the tornado warning is for Rankin County, Simpson County, Smith County, and central Mississippi here. Issued until 7:15 p.m. Central Time. Yep, I was right. 45 miles an hour. That was a lucky guess. But yeah, this is a dangerous looking storm right now. Almost a textbook looking supercell. We're definitely watching this one now, more so over the other storm. I think that one probably is going to be towards the end of its tornado producing potential. We'll still watch it closely, but I'm becoming less and less confident in its potential to produce right now. But watch, as I say that, we'll see this thing suddenly organize to drop a big one. Let's hope that doesn't happen, honestly. Frustrating thing about this is that there's no storm chasers on either of these storms right now that we can watch right now. I bet you Reed Timmer probably is on that storm over towards Mississippi, but because of copyright reasons and YouTube, obviously we're not going to chance watching that. Otherwise, the stream will get taken down, and we don't need that right now. So let's go back to this one really quick. Look at the velocity product. Yeah, the storm's looking a lot less impressive now. I think the storm's about done. It's going outflow dominant. Maybe we could see something redevelop with a different segment on the line here along this warning. But this isn't a really impressive couplet right now. So we're mainly just looking at a very broad rotation here. So let's go back over towards Mississippi, where we got our pretty impressive looking supercell here. And we do have a storm chaser that's on the way here. This looks like it's... I'm going to say that's Brandon. Yep, it's Brandon Kopic. Let's see what his stream is looking like here. Maybe we might be able to see something. He's a little laggy. Right now, we're not going to see nothing as he's still far away, but at least with this storm moving at 45 miles an hour, he has a chance of catching it. In fact, I'm pretty sure he will catch it. Yeah, it looks like we're buffering a bit here. Go ahead and get him off the screen for now. Hopefully later we can maybe get a better view from him. This velocity scan hasn't really changed too much, but I do see signs that this could be further strengthening. I'm going to watch the CC here. We're going to mainly be watching this storm now, as I think that storm over towards Arkansas is about done here. I'm going to even split this off a bit and look between high res velocity here and the CC. So far, it does not look like there is anything down, thankfully. But of course, with the environment as it is, this is likely to change. So we'll just kind of keep it on this screen right here and just more or less wait to see what happens next with this storm here. The next scan is going to probably be very telling. Just pardon me for a second. I'm also sharing this stream, trying to get a few more people in here. Still waiting on that scan to come in here. Hold on a second here. That looks interesting. It's not enough of a drop to make me say, oh, that's definitely down. It looks like it's actually 2 points of rotation, though, and interestingly enough. But we'll have to watch that. Let's see what we got going there. Looks like we're dealing with a few flash flood warnings as well. This storm also, by the way, has the potential of producing a slightly under 3/4 inch hail, though. But that is right at the cusp of severe limits. Let's go ahead and actually take a look at that. We'll get this out of split screen for now. I don't really see any immediate tornado threat. Well, I do see immediate tornado threat with it, actually, obviously. But I don't see an immediate tornado down just yet. But this thing is definitely spinning like a top. Oops, I did not mean to get that up. I wanted this right here. Oh, yeah. This definitely has increased hail potential. I think that this could actually end up getting a little bit more impressive as time goes on. So we'll go ahead and... Oh, that's a new feature. The first time I've ever clicked on that and I've seen that. So again, not the most impressive thing I've seen, but as far as hail is concerned, I think there's a little bit of potential there. We'll see what this does in the next couple of scans as well. Uh-oh, hang on a minute. This storm might be getting outflow dominant here. If you remember what I've talked about in the last couple of scans here, whenever you see that hook, like what you're seeing here, that has a good chance of producing. But when you start seeing that segment begin to start to turn backwards into a backward C, that's usually a telltale sign the storm is going outflow dominant and is not going to have the same kind of potential to produce a tornado down the line here. So we could be watching this either cycle, or this storm will end up becoming a big time hailer and damaging wind threat. So we're going to keep an eye on this here and just kind of go on from that point. No new severe warnings, mostly just special weather statements. So we'll just keep an eye on this guy and just kind of wait for what happens next here. It looks like it's trying to cycle, though. The storm looks like it's still pretty well organized. We are also getting a little bit closer to that radar over here towards Jackson, so this could interfere with the picture that we have here. Let's see if I can find another site that's not too far away so we can get a good look at this. Let's try this over here towards eastern Mississippi. This might be a little too far to the north, though. Yeah, this is a little too far. Ooh, here we go. There's the Mobile radar. I think there could also be one over towards Baton Rouge. I think this will be also kind of on the edge of the radar range, so we won't get a good picture of it. Yeah, it's right on the edge of it. It's like it's in a little miniature radar hole. So this looks like Brandon Kopic is getting a lot closer to this storm now. Yeah, I think this is in a small radar hole here because this is looking at the Slidell site here. Yeah, I'm thinking for the most part we're in a radar hole currently. So I'm seeing more alerts coming in. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's just more special weather statements. This is one with including the one with the tornado warning we have going on right now. It looks like we're just gonna have to stick things out with the Jackson radar. Unfortunately, it gives the best picture, but even then, it's a little bit touch and go here with things as far as trying to read the radar. It does look like it's trying to cycle a little bit, though. I do see some indicator of it being outflow dominant, but we'll have to see what this does here. Let's go ahead and look at the velocity here. I still think it's a pretty healthy storm. Not quite as tightly rotating as we saw in the last couple of scans, but this storm, these supercells are known for being cyclic, so as a result, we could see a few scans where this will start to weaken, and then eventually it'll start to ramp back up as it moves further off to the north and east here. So just because right now it doesn't seem like it's imminently producing a tornado, it doesn't mean we should just throw it all away and not watch this anymore. And this is pretty much going to be what's expected tonight for this upcoming potential severe weather event. We really haven't gotten towards the peak time for storms to really start developing. I think the next couple hours is when we'll really start to see things begin to kick off. This could very well be a precursor. We could even see some nocturnal storms here. Main reason that guys like me are here is so that we can make sure that there's no need for you to be scared, but make sure that you are prepared. So that way, if a warning is issued, you can head over to your safe place comfortably, and by the time all is said and done, if you hopefully everything will be all right and you will be safe. That's the goal here. Also, with as many you got, if there's still a good bit of you guys in here, feel free to say something in the chat. I don't bite. Even though there's only 10 of you, I'm sure one of you wouldn't mind talking. If you also, just one other thing I want to clarify. If you occasionally hear me clearing the mic or hear me hitting the mic, I'm muting it to blow my nose here. I've had a stuffy nose for the last couple of days. You can kind of hear it intermittently, like I'll get a little stuffy. So, again, just kind of bear with me there. It might be time to do it again right now, honestly. All right, we're back. New scans come in. Looks like yeah, it looks like this is becoming a little bit more outflow dominant. You can almost kind of see a surge develop here. You can see where these winds going away from the radar have kind of begun to surge out a bit, and it's kind of created a shear line. Whereas now, before, if you were to go back a couple of frames here, you could see that the rotation was a lot tighter. Now we're a lot more broad. We're kind of all over the place. You don't want to see broad rotation when it comes to tornadic activity. You look for much tighter rotation, for sure. So, still will watch this storm, but I think we're losing some tornado potential with this for right now. Again, these storms are very supercellular storms like this are known for cycling. So it's not like we can discount this thing eventually getting its act together once again and maybe prompting another tornado and maybe even producing. So Brandon Kopic is on the way to the storm here. I'm gonna try again and see if we can't pull up his stream while I'm at it. Let's see if we can get his thing to work here. So while I'm at it, I might as well try and make dinner plans because or try to see if we can get something delivered here, because I'm gonna be here for a while. I'm gonna be here for a large portion of the night here. Don't worry, you won't hear me eating on stream here, so don't worry about that. I'm not that rude. If I really have to cut into something, if I really have to cut in to talk about a storm or something, I will. I'll at least try to at least chew my food up and swallow. But just give me a second here. I'm trying to manage a lot here. New alert just popped up. Well, looks like we're not getting his stream up anytime soon. I don't know if it's my internet that's. Oh, there we go. New tornado one. I've been a little bit suspicious about that storm there. I was wondering if it could or would produce or prompt a tornado warning at any point, but But it looks like we've gotten in there now. We're dealing with a radar indicated tornado warning. Also, the severe thunderstorm warning that has prompted 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. It's a pretty strong hail core right there, too. Let's go ahead and switch over to velocity products here. There is a notable couplet, and there's a lot of lightning right there to the south here. So we're starting to see the number of tornado warnings increasing here. So this is again something that we'll have to be watching really closely. And this tornado warning is over in. Let's go ahead and get a look at the counties here. This is for Chillicothe County and Ashley County in southeastern Arkansas. Storm is moving at 60 miles an hour, and it is 10 miles east of Hamburg at the time it was issued. So tornado and quarter-sized hail is the main hazard with this. Excuse me. All right, so from what I can see here, all the lightning in the way, it's kind of hard to see. I don't want to have to clear that because that's usually a good indicator whether or not the storm is intensifying or not. I'm thinking, though, right to the south of Mount Pleasant might be the point of rotation from the looks of it. Yeah, in fact, I'm pretty sure of it now. But look at all the lightning around that. That is intense. That storm is definitely starting to ramp up here. When you see these line segments of storms here, you always have to look towards those southern cells here because they have the opportunity to tap into some of that warmer air without any sort of competition. Usually with those storms, it's temporary and it doesn't tend to last, but every once in a while you can get a pretty strong tornado out of this. This environment itself is very much favorable for the development of strong tornadoes. So any storms that are in an open sector or discrete definitely are going to have to be watched a lot closer. All right, so let's go ahead and actually switch over to the correlation coefficient here. That looks interesting, but I don't think that's down. I think this is mostly noise right now. Go ahead and split it off just to make sure, and we'll even set this in a loop. But I don't think, as of right now, there's a tornado down with this just yet. No, not yet. So let's just run this into a loop really quickly. Yeah, I don't really see anything. Just mostly a lot of noise for right now. So we'll go ahead and watch this storm a little bit more closely and also try to see if we can't get a wide view to cover this storm that's still over towards Jackson. Has not produced a tornado at the moment, but we're waiting to see if the storm ends up cycling. So we're going to go back to velocity products here. Yeah, this is definitely looking like it's starting to form more of a shear line, becoming more outflow dominant. So for right now, again, like I've said before, tornado threat is not seeming as imminent as it was before. So we'll switch back to reflectivity here and just kind of play things out. It does look like it's trending a little bit better now, though. Whereas before it was definitely retaining more of that backward C shape. Now it's starting to get its act together again. So this could end up maybe becoming a problem over towards Puckett once again. I mean, it's still rotating. It's just a very broad, very large area of rotation. But nothing down with that yet. So we're just going to be pretty much flip-flopping between these two tornado warnings here. You can see the other storm chasers starting to pay attention to these storms that are forming a little bit further to the south where they're a little bit more discrete in nature. And this is what we're worrying about over the course of the evening is the increased number of prefrontal supercells that'll have the chance to rotate throughout the course of the afternoon and into the evening hours. All right, so this does have a pretty stout feature right here. We'll see if this ends up producing or not. It seems like it's in a favorable position right now to maybe produce, but we'll have to see what happens with that. Okay, so while I'm at it here, I'm still trying to get more info out to people here. This looks like it actually could end up forming a nice little hook here too while we're at it, while we're looking at that one. Oh, and there's a new tornado warning. This looks like it might be for that same cell I've been looking at earlier that was off to the south of Little Rock here. Oh, okay. So this looks interesting. Might have to switch radar sites for this one. I think the site near Memphis might be a good one for this one. All right, let's see if we can't get that to load. But business is starting to pick up now. This is exactly what we were worried about. Yeah, this has the look of a potential embedded supercell. There's a kink in that line here. There's a nasty little kink at that. You can see the little inflow notch here, where you could see the damaging wind threat right here, and then right around this little south side here towards Holly Grove. That's where I think the greatest point of rotation is going to be. Go ahead and verify that with a velocity product. Oh, great. And a little bit of a radar hole right here. The thing with this region as well is the fact that more often than not, as we move forward here, the changes in elevation, Earth's curvature definitely can make these storms a little bit harder to see here. But where did it go? It's just here. I just had it in front of me just now. Did we lose it? Did they cancel it just now? It looked like it was a pretty healthy looking storm to me, but perhaps we lost it. Well, isn't that irritating? Okay, there we go. Yeah, it looks like it's gone now. I guess any chance of it producing a tornado at the moment, they don't feel like there's an imminent threat, and I don't really see any rotation there. So it's kind of hard to go off of that right now. But I guess we'll go back to the other two storms right now and keep an eye on that area as well. So let's scoot this back down to the south a bit and maybe switch back over to the Jackson radar. If I can find it. Okay, there we go. So it looks like while we're switching over to this radar site here, it looks like Brandon Kopic is on an intercept path for this storm here. I don't know when exactly you could rendezvous with it because it seems like this storm might be speeding up just a little bit. Trying to see if I can switch over to this radar site here too. For whatever reason, I can't. There we go. That was odd. Zoom back out here. Storm looks like it's trying to get its act back together. There's still a pretty good couplet here, but she's fighting for it. If it's gonna produce, it's gonna have to. I guess in a way, it's gonna have to earn it. We don't really want that. We want it. We don't really want it to. So this is a good thing so far. Go ahead and look at the CC here, the correlation coefficient. See if there's any sort of debris in the air. Looks like mostly just noise still, which is a good thing. Let's hope that it remains that way. Honestly, nothing burger would be great, as some people have called previous outbreaks that didn't produce. This storm is trying really hard to go outflow dominant because it'll form a hook for a little bit, then it'll dissipate, then it'll form a hook again, then it'll dissipate. So this is going to be really irritating to watch because you don't know whether or not it's going to produce. But this feature here is going to be interesting as well because you can see this little segment of storms beginning to develop here, but they also look like they're discrete and becoming supercells. These will become more organized as they move further off to the east, and these could also be potential tornado producers down the line. Also have to watch storms further to the south as well because that's where some of the greatest wind shear and other parameters are in abundance. Would be more than sufficient enough to produce. So plenty to keep track of here. This is only the beginning of what is likely to be a long night. All right, switch back to this storm over here. That's a little further off to the. I'm gonna guess this is okay. This is Arkansas. This is indeed Arkansas. Okay. With all the stuff up, it does kind of make it hard to keep track of it all. But from the looks of it here, this is the storm that's heading towards the Arkansas-Mississippi line. We'll be watching this one. We're gonna switch this back to velocity product. Still a decent couplet here. It's going to be tricky to see what this one ends up doing. The structure of it's a little bit odd, but not too far astray. Let's go ahead and take a look at the CC here. Nothing looks like it's down with this one. Go ahead and also look at the hail potential. Because at this point, why not? Ooh, that is actually a very rich signature right there. So basically, what the vertically integrated liquid is, basically, it's as simple as this. The brighter the color, the heavier the liquid is in this part of the atmosphere. Usually at this point, by the time you get to about 30 kilos plus, that's getting towards some notable hail. Because water droplets are obviously not going to be as heavy as as hailstones or ice crystals. If they end up consolidating, of course. So this is a pretty big this if this doesn't produce a tornado even then, this is going to be a pretty notable hailer. So that being said, That being said, let's switch back and go to that other storm that we were looking at just a bit ago. This does have the look like it's trying to possibly go outflow dominant as well, so this is something we'll have to watch too. This storm just does not seem like it wants to make its mind up. Okay, so as far as we know right now, these are two tornado warnings. We're gonna pretty much go over the severe thunderstorm warning as well. We have the one towards Ashley County in Arkansas. We'll go ahead and take a look at that in a minute. We also have this one over here towards. Ooh, the hail is actually really impressive with this one that we were just looking at here. This is for Monroe, St. Francis, Prairie, Woodruff, Lee, and Arkansas counties. This has 1.5 inch hail. This is definitely beyond severe limits here. Go ahead and take a look at that while we're waiting to see what the next scan looks like here. Also waiting to see if we can even get the radar up. Ooh, look at that. It's pretty notable hail core in there as well, but also having to look for the threat of damaging winds. Even without looking at the velocity product, you can sometimes tell just by looking at this leading edge here. Whenever you see that contrast between the green to red be that small, that's usually a telltale sign of damaging winds. So that definitely looks like that's what we're seeing here. So we're gonna have to keep a close eye on that. Because even without a tornado, damaging straight line winds can do the same kind of damage as a weak tornado, but also it can be more widespread. It'll be more like almost at times like a tidal wave or a downburst or something. So if you happen to be under severe thunderstorm warning and you see that kind of imagery right there, treat it almost as if it was a tornado warning, because you don't want to be near a window if those winds hit. Definitely not what you would want to deal with for sure. So we're going to switch back over to the Jackson radar. It looks like we're seeing an increase of lightning with this one. Still looks like it's outflow dominant, but it's really trying to get its act together here. Seeing a little bit of an increase in lightning, but not very much yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this one. We do see a couple of additional cells starting to pop up here. We're seeing an increase in more discrete cells starting to form here. We're just waiting more or less for those to organize and see what they end up doing. Like I said, this is the beginning of a very long evening. Let's hope that nothing ends up coming of it. Of course, that always would be great. But with the threat existing as it is, we're going to just have to keep an eye on things and just bear with it until the threat is a little bit minimized. Or either that or I end up going to sleep at some point. Looks like Brandon Kopic is getting close to the storm, and he might end up having to core punch it in order to get a view of the mezzo here. I'm going to try again and see if we can't get him on stream. Let's hope that this works. Alright, looks like we're not getting him. This area can be pretty tough when it comes to streaming, because these areas don't get great signal. And on top of that, I don't think I get that great a signal when it comes to streaming these guys either way. So it's gonna be tough to get a hold of him, get a look at him. Unfortunately, I'm gonna try and see if maybe I can find some luck with one of these other guys. Maybe here's a look at Brett Adair as they're tracking that little storm right there that's starting to develop. They're just more or less waiting to see what's going on with that. They could also be on track to maybe heading towards that storm that Brandon Kopic's on. We'll see what happens there, but it looks like they're mainly hanging around this storm right now. Yeah, he's sitting here watching and waiting to see what this does, just based off the picture we have here. Still doesn't look like I can get him on stream, unfortunately. I have to eventually work on this setup and see if we can upgrade this a little bit more. But it looks like we're just gonna keep an eye on things from here on out. Keep on cycling through our alerts, and we'll just wait and see what happens. It's pretty much the mode that we're gonna be in. I'm still blowing my nose, so again, just bear with me here. If you hear me mute for a moment, that's what it is. Apologize for that. I don't know what's going on with me. I don't really feel like I'm sick, but I'm just stuffy for whatever reason. Let's go ahead and look back towards this supercell here. See, and it's doing it again. It's like it does this little point where it starts to cycle, and then eventually it starts to become outflow dominant again. I almost feel like this is trying to choke itself off almost. The way that hook is kind of curled in the way it is, and then the way the rain is starting to act around that missile cyclone, it could be a telltale sign that the storm may not be able to produce a tornado here. We'll see what it does as it progresses further to the east, but I'm starting to become a little less impressed with that storm's potential, so to speak. This storm right here, I still got some questions on. I think that there's a chance that it could still produce a tornado. I do think that it also has a chance of producing some damaging straight line winds. It's going to be hard to really depict whether or not this will produce. There's still a couplet here, but it's becoming a little less impressive with this. So, that being said, the main concern with this one is going to be hail. So we'll go ahead and look at the VLI here. Still looks like we have a pretty strong signature here. We're getting up to about what? We're getting close to about 30 on there, 30 kilos there. So that's a good telltale sign. There's also really impressive hail to the north of this too. If I can get this to work right here. Come on now. This is just to the north of Arkansas City here too, by the way. So this is 34 kilos right here. So could see some pretty big hail. At least an inch in diameter is what the severe reports are indicating with this. But as far as tornadoes are concerned right now, I'm starting to lean away from it for the moment. We'll see what happens with this. I don't see this warning extending to the north and east here. This still has a chance of doing that. But, yeah, no. I think this is going to end up becoming a severe thunderstorm warning. This is definitely looking like it's going outflow dominant. Every scan, it'll try and get it and tighten back up. And then by the next one, it just goes into that backward C shape that we all know too well, which is indicative of damaging winds. See, it's still kind of doing it right now. We'll just be watching this one for right now and see what this ends up doing. There is a point though where I think that this is beginning to try to bring more warm air in, but it just can't seem to get its act together fully. So it's gonna be really interesting watching what happens with this cell next. So it looks like we're in a little bit of a quieter period here. Currently down to 2 tornado warnings, handful of severe thunderstorm warnings. Pretty impressive hail so far. I was honestly thinking hail was going to be the least impressive of the main hazards we were looking at, but so far, we've been wrong. I'm going to also go ahead and look up some meso discussions while I'm at it here, see if there's anything new going on. Just refresh here. Hang on a minute. Looks like we might have a new meso discussion here. This was issued 21 minutes ago, and this is towards northeast Louisiana and towards Mississippi. We're going to be watching these storms as they're. I think it's these storms that they're referring to that are over towards Yazoo City. They've not popped up on my screen yet. Oh, look at that. New tornado warning. Or is that the same one? Actually, that is the same one. I was tripping. Looks like they extended that one that was over to the that was over towards the Arkansas Mississippi line. It's extended into Mississippi. We have Washington and Bolivar. Maybe it's Bolivar counties in Mississippi. Now in a new tornado warning here. This is located over Jersey Point, 13 miles southeast of Brewer, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. Tornado and quarter-size hail are the main threat with this. The next cities to watch out here will be Benoit, Renova, Mound Bayou, and Shelby. These will be there within the next 30 minutes or less. Benoit, this will be on you within the next 4 minutes. So take shelter if you are watching. If you are watching the weather right now, get away from the windows and exterior walls. Get into the interior of your home. So far, nothing really over here that's noteworthy beyond these two tornado warnings. 1 inch hail. A lot of severe thunderstorm warnings with 1 inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds right now is the main tag here. I'm still not sure what this storm is trying to do just yet. It's starting to look a little better again, but it just keeps on phasing in and out here. This looks like it's formed a good inflow region once more, but right towards that backside where it wants to try and produce a tornado, it still seems like it's outflow dominant. I don't know if you could hear that in the background, but that was actually my stomach starting to growl. Sheesh, that was actually pretty loud. Alright, so guess I better finish this order while I'm waiting to see what's going on with this storm here. Well, really both of these. Oh, it looks a little better on radar with this one. Let's go ahead and look at the velocity couplets on both of the storms. This one further to the north here. Oh, that's actually gotten a lot more impressive here in the last couple of scans. Then we have the second one here, the secondary point of rotation here. In fact, that one looks a lot more impressive than what I've seen recently. So let's go ahead and actually take a look at the CC here, because that scan looks like it could be sufficient enough to maybe drop something. So far, nothing there on the on the CC. We'll be watching that as time goes on. But let's go back and switch to velocity and head back south. One thing that's really nice about this is the fact that both of these storms are within the same radar coverage, which is a little bit more convenient. Yeah, this storm still seems like it's outflow dominant. I don't think they're going to continue on with this tornado warning. It just doesn't seem to show the potential to really produce right now. I think Brandon Kopic's going to most likely stay with this storm for a bit here to see if it maybe cycles and goes back tornadic. It could, but just based off of the radar imagery, it just doesn't lead me to believe that it's going to anytime soon. I'm gonna step away and head to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. I will leave the radar up for you guys. I'll go to a little bit more of a wider view. I'll be just around the corner in my room here. Don't go anywhere. All right, so I think we're gonna start to shift our attention now more so towards the storm that's over towards Cleveland here, where I think there's a little bit greater potential for this to produce. In fact, I'm gonna go back and take a look at what the next scan is looking like here, what the most recent scan has looked like. I wonder if we've gotten a new scan in or not. If I can just get this to behave here. Let's go to velocity products. Doesn't look like it's really changed too much. I think this is still the same scan. This is over towards Benoit. Yeah, I mean, it's still a pretty strong couplet. Or kind of, the shear isn't that impressive, but there is rotation there for sure. I'm not really thinking that this is producing anything just yet. I also think that if that is a new scan, not much has really changed with it. This has completely gone outflow dominant. Not worried about that anymore, but I am interested a little bit in what I'm seeing with these other two storm chasers here, Brett Adair and Vince Welty. I do see something that kind of catches my eye there. so this is over towards Smith County here. Let's go ahead and look at that one then. Oh, this is the same storm. This is the one that's pretty much gone outflow dominant. All right, let's go ahead and look at this one. This is the one that's over towards the Arkansas-Mississippi line. And then we'll click the last one just to make sure we got all this right. Oh, and that's an extension of that tornado warning. So nothing new in regards to tornado warnings are concerned. A couple of new severe thunderstorm warnings. Most of these are extensions of existing severe thunderstorm warnings right now. So things are not slow, but they're not really picking up just yet either. I think within the next hour or so, that's when we'll really start to see things get a little bit more interesting. Let's go ahead and see what Brett Adair is doing here. Or Brad Arnold, excuse me. Oops, I just clicked off of him. I'm going to go back to reflectivity here if I can. Computer's been giving me a lot of trouble right now. I wonder why they're just hanging out over there right now. Are they just waiting for storms to fire further to the south, or is it something else that I'm just not seeing? I mean, we know this sector is going to be favorable as time goes on, but right now we haven't really seen much of anything. That storm does look promising on reflectivity, though. So maybe they're just waiting to see what this one will do. Only thing that I'm kind of against with that is the fact that there's this little line of showers and storms to the south of that, and that could inhibit the inflow. So this is it's going to be a little bit frustrating to see how it's going to be a little interesting and maybe potentially frustrating seeing how these develop. Okay, we're going to switch back towards these storms that are more so to the north. This one, there's a really interesting notch right there. I think this is the only storm that's now tornado warned at this point. Yep, this is it right here. Let's go back towards, oops, I ended up clicking the same thing. Let's go back towards the velocity here. Oops, I'm bumping everything right now. So far, it doesn't really look like a whole lot's changed. It seems towards that southern flank here, there's still a point of rotation that I find interesting here. 2 points of rotation here, but so far from what I can see, nothing down still. Yeah, it doesn't look like we have anything on the ground right now. It's mostly noise. We're just going to have to keep watching, I guess, and see what ends up coming of these storms. So far, things have stayed tame, which is good news, actually. Because given the parameters in the environment and in this storm environment here, this could have gotten very ugly. But it looks like so far we have not seen any sort of tornadic activity. We have a long ways to go, though, so be sure to check back in if you're just wanting to take a break for now. So we'll be watching this storm mainly in the meantime and just kind of going from there. I'm also going to try to see if I can order some food real quick. I might mute for just a moment. Alright, guys. Sorry about the wait. Sorry about the silence. I'm trying to work on making this live stream experience better, but I've been super busy with work and everything, so it's kind of making things hard. But in the meantime, just try to bear with it as best as we can. I appreciate anyone that's been patient and has been watching from the beginning, even if it's only one or two people. I appreciate you guys. Just thought I'd let you know that. These guys over here on this storm that's over towards Epps, they're still trying to see what this ends up doing, but I don't see any potential for this producing right now. I just don't. This is an interesting storm over here, though, however, over towards Canton. This is Canton, Mississippi. See a nice little hook developing on that, but it's not quite organized just yet, but this could be a telltale sign of things to come here. This storm is still trying to hang on, but I just don't see it producing anything right now. But I think we're going to watch that one alongside that tornado warning that we have over here towards the north of Greenville, heading in towards maybe Cleveland. I know there's a couple scans that have come in since I've been offline. So we'll just go ahead and take a look at what those vortex signatures may look like here. This still looks like there's one over here to the south of Benoit. The one that's closer to Cleveland now is a little less impressive now. So I think this more westerly feature might be taking over here. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, and then we'll start to switch. Then, of course, we're going to keep an eye on that cell that's popped over here towards Canton. Let's go ahead and see if I can't find it again using the velocity map here. It doesn't look like there's anything going with it just yet. There's no real rotation. That storm hasn't really had a chance to mature just yet. So we'll switch back to reflectivity in the meantime. Go ahead and still has that tornado possible tag on there. See how it trends. The storm looks some more organized though, strangely enough. Although the couplet itself doesn't look that impressive. This looks like an embedded supercell trying to develop here too. So it's going to be interesting to see how things kind of unfold with that. Alright, so in the meantime, I haven't even checked the views in a while. I wonder if you guys are even watching right now. Sorry, I had to blow my nose again. This is really starting to organize into an embedded type supercell here. It might be a little bit on the outflow dominant side, but I'm getting a little bit leery of this look here. I don't think we've had a new scan come in just yet. I don't think. Actually, yes, we have. It doesn't look remarkably different from the last one, but I'm a little bit suspicious of maybe seeing an increased velocity couplet over here. Oh, yep, and there it is. Look at that. This is just to the south and east of Benoit here. Let's go and see if there's any other small towns in the path. We have Longshot. This looks like it's about to be right on top of you here. Skeen, Boyle, Laughlin, O'Reilly, Cleveland Crossing, and then eventually even the town of Cleveland. We might have to watch you guys for a potential tornado on the ground because this is becoming a more and more organized couplet. Let's go ahead and take a look at the correlation coefficient here. A little bit more suspicious, but kind of hard to tell. We'll set this in a loop here just to make sure that we got this right here. It's the most suspicious look I've seen so far. Not sure if I'm ready to call this down yet, but we'll have to see what ends up happening with it. We don't have any storm chasers that are in there from Radar Omega to look at this, so that's going to make it kind of hard. We're pretty much going to have to rely on the correlation coefficient here, of course. So we'll just keep an eye on it. We'll just have to flip flop between these three at the moment. But this definitely looks like the storm to watch from this point. Still seeing that storm continuing to be outflow dominant, and outside of that, these storms have not really materialized into much of anything just yet. Looks like we have yet another round of storms right behind this. Mostly this looks like it's going to be rain, but there could be a couple of pulse severe storms falling in behind this big line of storms with increased severe potential. So this will be so again with only one tornado warning. This is the main this is the main thing that we're going to be watching here. This definitely has a much better look on radar than I've seen out of all the others. This embedded supercell. I don't know how long this will keep this up for though. 2. See what one of these storm chasers are doing while we're waiting here. Looks like this storm towards Canton is a little less impressive now. Fortunately, looks like that one isn't going to produce a tornado. Trying to find a way to keep you guys entertained here too. Okay, looks like Brad Arnold's.
What is it? Yeah, go straight.
Just waiting to see what this storm is going to do. I don't know why they're so stuck on that storm. Do they think it's going to produce? I guess they're just waiting for it to get into the more favorable environment. But as of right now, I thought it would have already started to become a little bit more organized. This is the tough part about probably being a storm. This is probably the tough part about being a storm chaser is having to wait as long as you do. The patience game is a virtue. Sometimes even I find myself getting impatient too. But that's what this game is all about here. We could be waiting for a good bit here. This storm over towards Epps looks really, really sloppy though. I'm not going to lie. I was expecting a few of these to potentially start to become more organized, but so far it just seems like these storms are remaining relatively elevated from the looks of it. Maybe the storm over towards Goodman shows a little bit more potential. We'll see what happens with that one. Trying to see who would be in the best position to intercept, and right now it's just kind of hard to tell who. This is outflow dominant still. And there's really no one that's close that could potentially jump on this storm here. Well, maybe Brandon Kopic could get through here. He would probably have to core punch that, which I'm sure he isn't really wanting to do. Although it looks like the hail threat with that one is a lot less lower, so he probably could get there. This storm is also moving at 45 miles an hour. A little bit slower than some of these other storms that are further back towards where the cold front is. Beyond that, though, there's really nothing going on right now. Outside of this one storm right here. And in this last scan, it actually doesn't look quite as impressive. Wonder if some of these showers and storms are starting to interfere with it just a little bit. Yeah, that TVS is starting to drop off now. If there was any chance of it producing That might have been its best chance so far. Again, you don't really see anything indicative of any sort of circulation on the CC here. It's like you see a little bit of noise right there, and there was a point where it looked a little suspicious, but it's just hard to tell. Maybe there was something down. I don't think so. This is also one heck of a hail producer here. We're almost flirting with 1 3/4 inch hail. Go ahead and look at the VIL as time goes on. Wow, look at that. It's getting towards 63 kilos per meter squared. That's pretty impressive. Tooth pain. But other than that, nothing really going on right now. Wait a minute. Is that it? Is that a new one? Yep, it is. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. It's a new tornado warning. This one towards Tennessee. This one is towards Tennessee. Let's go ahead and shift the radar back. If it'll load. Guess we're just stuck having to wait here. I really just feel like I need a more powerful computer to get through this. There is some hail with it too, by the way, though. It could be up to about 1 inch, maybe, according to radar imagery. Let's go ahead and take a look at this, though. Classic embedded kink in the line here. This is a tornado warning that's been issued for the counties of Mississippi County in Arkansas and Lauderdale County in West Tennessee. It's a storm moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. This is located over Osceola. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But a few other towns that could be impacted would be Blytheville, Ripley, Osceola, Luxor, Kaiser, Fort Pillow State Park, Burdett, Fulton, Ashport, Fort Pillow, Victoria, Barr, Eastview, Barfield, Driver, O'Donnell Bend, Gritter, Tomato, Tuckertown, and Rosa. All of you, if you happen to be in that polygon, take shelter. Let's go ahead and look at the velocity here. Dang. Mainly looking like a shear line. There's a small pocket right up in here where we see increased point of rotation. I'm trying to draw the circle, but I'm not really doing a good job of that. Yeah, right up in there is where we have that little couplet. It's a very small one, but it's definitely there. So we'll be watching that. And from what I'm looking at right here, I'm gonna guess that we aren't gonna see too much out of the CC. Then again, you never know with these little line segments here. They're very sneaky. Hold on a minute. That looks a little bit more interesting than what I've seen. I think this is not down though still, but let's go ahead and look at the velocity product and make a comparison here. So here's our velocity. I don't think this is down just yet. It could have been earlier though too. Who knows? Mm, that looks. Yeah, I'm not gonna call that down just yet. I'm not sold yet. Let's go ahead and take a look at some any new warnings here. Same warnings. Radar indicated right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings. There's no considerable tags with that just yet. It's just mainly hail and wind right there. Nothing new in the way of tornado watches from what I've seen. We're just mainly looking at the same areas for right now. Beyond that, things are pretty quiet right now. I think this storm over here towards Cleveland is probably not going to continue to have a tornado warning on it for much longer. In fact, I think this is probably going to expire soon. Storm's moving out of the warned area, and it's looking a lot less impressive on reflectivity. Velocity has been going away in the last couple of scans, and it's continuing to do so here. So I'm pretty sure this tornado warning will be the last one for that storm for right now. And then we'll just be focused on that one storm a little further up north, over towards Tennessee and Arkansas right here, or Mississippi actually. The storm still has a decent couplet on it. Becoming a little less impressive though. We're mostly seeing line segments. I'm not sure what's been stopping these prefrontal storms from really getting their acts together. That might have more to do with convection, not necessarily electromagnetism. See a new severe thunderstorm warning. This might be on the storm that Brad Arnold's been looking at for a while now. He's been trying to stick with that one for a minute. He's seen a lot of potential in it, but nothing really has come of it. Let's go ahead and switch the radar scan here and just kind of go from that point. Dang. Can't get this radar to load. I've been having problems with this radar for a minute now. Sheesh, it's still not loading. Alright, maybe I'll have to go to another radar site then and try to come back to it, I guess. head over to this one over here and then try and see if we can't switch back. And jeez. Okay, there we go. Sheesh. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what was going on there. This has gotten a little bit interesting here. It's very weak, very broad rotation in there, but there is something to be. There is something to watch. Still looks really messy. There's a probably increased hail potential with this storm, and maybe some potential damaging winds. But as far as tornadic activity is concerned, that's kind of at a minimum with this one right now. Uh-oh. This storm might have finally snapped out of its outflow dominance streak here. It's looking a little bit more impressive again. The storm has had some real issues fighting with outflow. But even so, still nothing that says to me, okay, this is trying to rotate and produce a tornado again. So it's kind of more or less just sitting here and waiting once more. Go ahead and switch back to reflectivity here. Go back to our actual tornado warning. Or warnings, I should say. The storm looks pretty interesting over here towards Cartridge, but I don't think, as of right now, it's imminently producing any sort of severe weather. Well, looks like they've reissued it, and there's still a little notch right here. Looks suspicious, but as far as rotation is concerned, that's going to be my question with that. Yeah, we do have a couplet. It's just outside of Cleveland here, but it's like it keeps on dancing throughout the line here, but is it producing? That's the only thing with this. It keeps showing a lot of potential like it's going to produce, but it hasn't done so yet. Storms like this could literally produce within one frame or within the middle of a frame, and by the next, it's not there. So depending on if there's any sort of reports of damage, that's going to be very indicative of what this storm could have been doing. Okay. Uh, Give me a second here. Alright, so we're switching back over to this storm here. This storm doesn't really look all that impressive now. I think there was a brief moment where this was trying to rotate, had a nice little couplet on it. There's still something there, but it's not as impressive. I don't think it's as impressive as it was before. We're still going to have to watch that. Oh, wait, no, it's still pretty impressive, actually. This is why it always pays to look at the loops. There's still something there. It's just kind of, I guess we're getting closer to the radar site, so it's getting a little harder to read. Because once you reach a certain point at to a certain distance within the radar, the perspective of the wind kind of changes. This red is wind moving away from the radar. Green is wind moving towards the radar. And I guess when you get to the north of it, this changes over a bit. So it just kind of threw me off for a second. But from the looks of it here, there's still a pretty notable couplet in play here. As we cross this little threshold right here, we'll probably see those colors kind of change over a little bit. go ahead and actually take a look at the CC here while I'm at it. Nope, nothing there. It's actually pretty clean. This is the cleanest look at the CC that I've had all day today. So, interesting stuff there. Nothing going though right now. Wait. Are they going to reissue? Looks like that tornado warning just might have expired. Or maybe they canceled it. Hard to say. But this storm right here still looks like it's pretty interesting. Still looks like it could be pretty dangerous. Beyond that, though, not a whole lot going on there. We're going to switch back to the Jackson radar again. Hopefully it will work this time around. It looks like it's trying to. Yeah, that storm's still outflow dominant. Poor Brandon is on that storm, and he's just like, what the heck, man? Still, is this an additional tornado warning? I mean, we do see a little bit of an embedded supercellular look there. We do see this little notch right here, which is this little feature is really interesting. But again, it's kind of a throw in regards to what it's doing here. There's plenty of lightning around both of these cells here, but the main point of interest here is just to the west of Drew here. So hopefully you're taking your safety precautions. You're in shelter over here towards Drew and Ruleville. The storm is still rotating. It's still seeming like it's trying to produce a tornado, even though I'm not very convinced that it is right now. You do not want to be leaving your safe spot. More radar noise. But this doesn't really tell me that this is down based off what I'm seeing here. Yeah, this is a bunch of noise. Looks like they've extended that tornado warning now, and new counties involved in that will be Tallahatchie in northwestern Mississippi and Quitman County. So you guys are now under a brand new tornado warning. This is in effect until 8:30 Central Time, and this storm is moving 60 miles an hour to the northeast. This was located near Ruleville, and this also is capable of golf ball sized hail. Some other towns that could be in the path here will be Charleston, Webb, Sumner, Paynes, Glendoria, Distall, Swan Lake, Mecoma, Tippo, Stover, Leverett, Waverly, Whitehead, Brazil, Abbott, and Effie. So if you happen to be in any of those areas that I just called, please take shelter. Excuse me. All right, so let's go ahead and look and see if there's any new alerts. Looks like there is not a new tornado warning yet. What? Wait, maybe there is. Oh, this is the storm that Brad Arnold's been on. It got tornado warned. It looks like here. It didn't really look like there was a couplet on there in the last couple of scans. It must have just shown something. There's been plenty of lightning with it. Oh yeah, there it is. There's that little notch right there that you always would look for. Then we'll go ahead and take a look at the velocity here. Ooh, it's actually a pretty strong couplet. Just formed too. Very tight couplet. There could be a sneaky little tornado down in there. Will we see anything on the CC? I'm not sure right now. I will kind of lean towards no, and that's definitely what we're seeing, but we're going to have to watch that one really close. Let's see if we can get a look at what Brad Arnold might be seeing. Oh wow. Oh wait. Maybe it's trying again. Yeah, it doesn't look like this is working. That's crappy. Okay, it looks like there might be a new tornado warning. Is there? Okay, let's go ahead and look at all these one by one. This is the same tornado warning from earlier. Nothing down according to this. Let's go ahead and scan everything real quick here. Still a pretty good couplet here. Pretty notable couplet actually. But nothing down just yet. At least not according to the CC, but there is a weak echo region there, so there could be something potentially coming down here. This is just to the south of Marysville, Rolling Fork, Egremont, Riverside Junction, Mount Helena, and even Lorenzen. We'll have to watch you guys for a potential tornado on the way. So if you haven't already, get into your safe place right now. Run there. And this is for the counties of East Carroll Parish and Issaquah County in Mississippi. Can't get my words out. This is hanging out towards Lake Providence, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. And the main hazard with this is only tornado right now. Let's look at this one right here. This one has a golf ball size hail potential right here. This also has a potential to produce a tornado here. Waiting for the radar to load. We'll look at the warning while we're waiting. Radar indicated tornado warning, and this is for the counties of Tallahatchie and Quitman counties in Mississippi. This is over towards Ruleville. We were looking at this earlier. Speed's increased a little bit. We're moving at 60 miles an hour, and we already know the areas involved with this. Sheesh, I'm feeling pretty crappy. Hang in there. But this doesn't look that impressive on reflectivity, but let's go ahead and look at velocity with this one. It's a very weak couplet there, but there is something there. We'll have to see how this develops as time goes on. Also, maybe we could take a look and see where we are in relation to the radar. I think that's also playing a part. But it looks like we're trying to get into an active period again. We'll see what happens with this. Yeah, not too many storm chasers on this right now, so not too worried at the moment. There is a storm chase. There are a few storm chasers looking like they're trying to intercept this storm here. We'll try and see if one of these guys, I can get on one of these guys' feed. If I can here. Be nice. Oh, wait a minute. Looks like we got something. Just trying to bear with it. This is a tough area to stream at, of course, with all the trees and interference that you can get from a storm. So this could still prove to be pretty fruitless trying to getting on to somebody's stream, but we're gonna try daggone it. We also get to look at his instruments, which is pretty nice. The overall pressure's pretty low right now, but yeah, it doesn't look like a whole lot going on with him right now as of yet. We're gonna try Breaded Dare. See if maybe we can get some better luck with him. Looks like he is heading off to the east here to try to get ahead of this storm. Yeah, it looks like we're getting nothing from Breaded Dare. And then here we are, still watching Brandon Kopic here on this storm over here that's hanging out towards Philadelphia now. We'll probably switch back to the Jackson radar. I think this is the same storm he's been on for a while. I mean, he's been seeing it remain outflow dominant, but it still seems like it has just that tiny little bit of potential that it could produce. We're gonna try to switch over to the Jackson radar again. Famous last words. See what happens with that. If not, we'll switch over to this radar that's over towards Sullivan, Alabama. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we're still looking outflow dominant here. Tiny little cores where we can occasionally see a little bit of rotation develop, but it just quickly goes away every time it starts to flare up. That storm just seems like it just prefers to be outflow dominant almost in that case. The storm over here still has a really impressive couplet on there. Seems like Brad Arnold is hanging back here. I'm trying to figure out whether or not he's seen something. It looks more or less like he's just behind the storm.
Probably F3, F4.
We had his stream up for just a moment here, but it looks like unfortunately I'm not able to get any streams to stay up. Paint. Okay, let's go ahead and see if maybe this is down. It still looks like a very impressive storm. It's just I haven't seen anything to confirm whether or not this is on the ground or not. It wouldn't surprise me if it was. Hang on a minute. Are we seeing something here? That looks like that could be a tornado right there. That looks like that could be down. Let's run this in a loop. It's tried and true method. Come on now, move out the way. Yeah, I think that could be a tornado over here towards Rolling Fork. So if you haven't already been in your safe place, which you really should have been a while ago over here towards Holland, Hickman, Riverside Junction, Mount Helena, you definitely need to be there now because I'm pretty sure at this point that there is a tornado on the ground here. And this is heading towards Interstate 61 here. Now, let's go ahead and try this here. We're going to end the loop here, and we're going to go ahead and span this out a bit. Oh, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Oh, great. Okay. All right, so here is a quick look at what this storm's path might look like here. We're going to say this storm's moving at about 60 miles an hour, so Let's calculate who all could be in the path here. We have Rolling Fork, Mount Helena within the next couple of minutes here. Next 5 to 10 minutes. So if you haven't gotten to your safe place, you better be running. We have Anguilla here at 9:13, so you have a little less than 10 minutes. Richie, you have maybe 15 minutes, and Louise, you have 20 minutes. There's 2,000 people in the path of this. There's over 2,000 people or 2,500 people in the path of the storm. This is actually just got a tornado emergency on it. So this is a big tornado on the ground here, folks. This is a tornado emergency, and this is confirmed down. So make sure that you are on the way to shelter right now. If you haven't been there already, you should have been there way earlier. That's strange. The emergency just went away. But that is definitely a tornado down. Okay, now it's back up. But this could be a big tornado on the ground, folks. Oh boy, here we go. This is what we were worried about here. This is what we've been worried about here. I want to see if there's anything on Twitter on my other computer or my phone here to get a look at what's going on here. Dang, I'm not gonna lie, I'm also dealing with a lot of tooth pain. So I'm trying not to be super quiet here, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't in a lot of pain. But I'm here. There's only 2 people here. Well, it's not like we're not trying. Yep. I think Reed Timmer is actually on this storm right now, by the way. I think he might be the one that called this one in because it doesn't look like any of the radar mega chasers are on this right now. But yeah, this is a very dangerous storm here. This isn't heading towards any larger population centers at the moment. This could eventually end up towards Morgan City and Greenwood, though, if this continues on its path. All right, so let's go ahead and get a close look at this tornado emergency over here. 8:06 p.m. A confirmed large and destructive tornado was heading over Rolling Fork, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. This is a tornado emergency for Rolling Fork and Anguilla. Say, particularly dangerous situation. Take cover now. Deadly tornado. Radar confirmed tornado. So here's the list of people here, right here. Anguilla, 810. Nidayuma, 815. So it's pretty much right now. Delta City, 820. Shoot, I'm hurt. Dang, man. This is a big tornado too. This is huge. This is about to head into Anguilla right now. Dang, I keep getting kicked out. What the heck, man? Oh, there goes the mic. Fuck you, God. Every time, everything I try to do, you want to ruin it. Just because. Leave me alone, man. Fucking bully. You fucking bully. Masterful bullying. As if you aren't already a piece of shit as it is. Further cemented every time you go after me. You remind the world on everybody why you're a bully. Oh, my mic just went.